My husband and I are expecting our first child soon, and we moved to be closer to his family, as I am no contact with mine. My mother-in-law has been referring to the baby as her baby this entire time. She says things like, "I can't wait for my baby to be born, my baby is going to be so loved." This rubs me the wrong way for reasons I cannot explain, but my husband tells me to ignore her. Recently, she wanted to throw me a baby shower and invite her friends. She said they had an agreement a long time ago to celebrate each other's kids' weddings and births, but my husband and I eloped and declined a reception for her friends since we don't know them. She told me that I owed it to her to let her throw the baby shower since I hurt her friends' feelings by not having a wedding reception. When I asked if I could invite my friends, she said no, explaining that this event was for her friends and that if my friends wanted to throw me a shower, they could. Reluctantly, I agreed. My husband and I spent hours on our registry, and my mother-in-law asked for it so she could share it with her friends. She mentioned forwarding the registry to them and also asked me about the design I wanted for my cake and cookies. I told her I preferred flowers because I am decorating the nursery in a garden theme. During the shower, they provided me with a mother-to-be sash and my mother-in-law with a granny-to-be sash to wear, but I noticed that the theme of the shower was circus animals. The cake had an elephant and balloons on it, and the cookies were shaped like animals. At first, I thought that maybe the floral theme was too difficult, so I went along with it until it was time to open presents. Every present was some sort of circus animal, onesies, blankets, toys, absolutely nothing from my registry. I was a little confused and even went so far as to check my registry to make sure I hadn't goofed up and changed everything. I thanked everyone for their gifts and tried to sound as gracious as possible, but I was so confused. My husband, who is a little less tactful than I am, showed up at the end of the shower and noticed the theme right away. He said, "What's up with all the circus animals?" He looked at the presents and added, "This isn't what we asked for." Then he looked at his mom and said, "Mom, what did you do?" She smiled and said, "I didn't like the theme you chose for my baby. I'm going to decorate my baby's nursery at my house with circus animals, so I created a registry for myself." My husband exclaimed, "You did what?" She responded, "My baby is going to need a room at my house, so I threw a shower for myself." I lost my composure and told her that she would not see my baby and to stop calling the baby hers, and my husband told his mom that she's delusional if she thinks we're going to allow this. In short, she started crying and said we are withholding her baby from her. Since the shower, we've been getting texts from his family, calling us selfish and ungrateful and saying we ruined her joy of being a grandma. Update 1. Thank you all for your feedback. Just a little more information now that I'm awake and can communicate better. I have text messages where mother-in-law and I conversed about the shower, what I wanted, me sending her my registry, etc. She was all, "This is going to be so wonderful, you're going to love it. My friends are so excited for you. I can't wait to see what everyone gets you." Call me naive, but I did not think that she had ill intent with this. For those asking why I reluctantly agreed to attend a party with her friends, I could tell how much it meant to her to carry on this tradition with her friends, but I was hesitant because I had never met them. My husband and I had declined the wedding reception she wanted to throw for the same reason. I didn't know them, and he hadn't seen them in over 20 years. We had eloped, so we had no intention of throwing a reception of any kind. We didn't even have a bridal shower, other than one that my co-workers threw as a surprise, but I could see how much it meant to her to host this shower, and there's a part of me that wishes I had this kind of tradition in my life. I also felt guilty when she said her friends' feelings were hurt that they couldn't celebrate our marriage. I spoke with my husband last night before we went to bed and told him that I feel like we need to say something to the extended family sooner rather than later. I said that I understand he wants to respond logically and not emotionally, but I also feel like us not saying anything looks like we have something to hide. He agreed and said that he will send a well-worded response later today. He just wants to think of how to word it before sending anything. I can respect that. He wants to make the situation better, not worse. As I said in my original post, he's a little tactless, and he knows it. He wants to ensure he keeps what he says neutral and to the point. He's also not sure what to say to his mom at this point. He mentioned that once he sees how the family reacts to the entire story, then he'll be able to make a better judgment of how to approach her. There had been zero discussion with her about setting up a room at her house for the baby. Last night, I asked my husband if she had mentioned anything to him about it, and he said no. The only suggestion she made was to add a pack and play to our registry for a portable crib. He said that he was as shocked as I was to find out that she had intended to set up a full-fledged nursery at her house and that he had no idea she was throwing a shower for herself. I asked him why he didn't take me seriously when I said that mother-in-law calling the baby her baby made me uncomfortable, and he said that he thought it was just a generational thing. I asked why he didn't ask her to stop, and he said he wishes he had and feels bad for not taking me more seriously. He said that he knows I have trauma from the years of abuse at my mother's hand and thought maybe I was reacting due to that, but now he sees that it goes beyond that. He also knows that, due to my past experiences, I tend to blame myself for things and don't stand up for myself even though I should. I grew up believing everything that went wrong was my fault. Years of therapy have helped, but I still find myself with that mindset in some situations. I'm a bit of a people pleaser, always trying to keep the peace, so he wishes he had stood up sooner rather than disregarding what made me uncomfortable. He repeated that his mom is notorious for making things about herself, but he had no clue she would go to this extent. We agreed that if she had just been honest with her intent, then we would have been okay with it, maybe a little weirded out if we're being honest here, but we would have allowed it. What bothers both of us the most is the extent she went to deceive us rather than just having a conversation with us. We had no clue grandparent showers were a thing either. We're not certain we want to go 100% no contact with mother-in-law at this time, but we want to keep our distance from her for now. We did agree that she will not be allowed to be alone with the baby for the foreseeable future. The hospital where I'm giving birth allows infants to stay in the room with the mother, so my husband and I have agreed that our baby will stay with us as much as possible. We're still undecided about whether we're going to allow visitors at the hospital. Some of that will be determined by how I feel after the birth. Mother-in-law will definitely not be allowed in the room while I'm delivering, no one except my husband and our medical staff. The big thing we agreed on is that we want our baby to be loved, safe, and secure. He knows that I don't have a family to fall back on, other than my brother, who has said that he will buy a plane ticket and be out here ASAP if I need him, and my friends, who have been very supportive and are excited to become aunties. We want our baby to have a sense of family that I did not have growing up. Husband's dad and stepmom have been absolutely amazing from the second we announced our pregnancy to them, and I have no doubt that the two of them will be loving, doting grandparents. Honestly, I suspect mother-in-law will be a good grandma, but she's going to have to earn my and my husband's trust again. Update 2. Most of you were correct, my husband talked to his brother yesterday, and mother-in-law is plotting to take my child because she thinks I'm going to be like my own mother. My own mother was physically and emotionally abusive to me and my brother. Mother-in-law told basically everyone that I'm mentally unstable, so she's preparing a room for when, not if, my husband leaves with a baby. The baby shower was a ruse to try to get a rise out of me and show her friends how unstable I am, but my husband ruined it by showing up and being the one to really say something. I mouthed off a bit, but she was hoping to really push me over the edge. I assume that my baby comments were testing the waters as well. I've been in therapy for years, working on my own fears of being like my mom with my therapist, and we have weekly standing appointments on Zoom. I've also talked with my obstetrician and psychiatrist about staying on my medication and watching closely for signs of postpartum depression. My husband has been a part of all these conversations and has sat in therapy with me multiple times. I'm not violent or known to have violent outbursts. I tend to withdraw and be non-confrontational when I'm upset. I can't say I fault mother-in-law for having concerns, but I wish she'd gone about showing it in a completely different manner, such as talking with me and my husband. He has half a mind to go to her house and just rip her a new one, but I told him no, we're not going to fight fire with fire. If she had talked with me about her concerns, I feel we wouldn't have reached this point. I've been able to share what I went through with her, and we've always been able to talk about things. She's seen my arms and legs, which are scarred from physical abuse. She's been odd, but never uncivil towards me. I would have told her I shared those concerns and then explained the steps I'm taking to prevent them. I haven't told her about having those worries because, ironically enough, I didn't want her to worry. I don't want to keep my daughter from a grandparent who loves her, I just wish things had been handled a little differently. Ultimately, we are likely going to restrict contact with everyone except my husband's dad, stepmom, and my brother. My husband says he has questions about his brother since he knew this was going on, but didn't say anything, and to add, mother-in-law was telling him that I was abusing my husband and he fully believed it.